do you think this is something that GameStop, that Cohen moves on quickly? Or do you think this is something like, are we still talking like, a year or two out? Or is he a guy who's like, clearly he's willing to make big moves in a short period of time, as he's done in the past? Does he just pull the trigger and go for this thing?
I think I'll take the middle ground on that. He's not going to either rush it, or is he going to delay it unnecessarily once he understands like the value proposition. So with the crypto, blunder where we did the Web3 marketplace and poured tens of millions of dollars into it and then just kind of, pooped itself, that he had talked about it and had tweeted and had followed Robbie Ferguson, or like quote retweeted him a few times, and the Immutable X and all these people. And it took him from there, it took him about like 6 months to finally get everything in line to pull the trigger to start building the marketplace. And so I don't think it's going to be years. I also don't think it's going to happen within the next month, even though things do look like they're accelerating. And I hope he finally gets the board's approval and can start buying Bitcoin here before we, go back up to 100,000. But I think if he's going to be buying Bitcoin, it's a strategic move, obviously, with the amount of cash he has on hand. He's going to have to do, obviously, like a broader Bitcoin GameStop strategy. And so what you said is exactly right. Like, put up Bitcoin ATMs. He can sell, they already sell trading cards that are like collectibles, basically, and you could sell those for Bitcoin easily. You could create microtransactions in like an online store using Lightning Network, where, if you're playing a game and you're like, oh, I really want this new skin on League of Legends, like, I need to pay, 2,000 sats. Okay, boom, I want the new skin, 2,000 sats. You could integrate everything, not super easily, but it wouldn't be that hard, right? He just needs to go out and hire a couple dozen Lightning developers and a couple other, front end, back end game developers, and they could probably do this. And they definitely, like we said, they have 4.6 billion in cash. They have the money for this easily. So, just 50 million of that would probably be enough to do the whole thing. But there's a lot of ways he could go about it. So, like we said, he could be selling skins. He could sell games for Bitcoin. He could create the Bitcoin like reward system, where the more you spend at the store, you get rewards back in Bitcoin that you can redeem in the store for games or whatever. And the benefit, like we said, is that he has these physical locations, which are rallying points for his customers. But he also has a huge online presence, right? There's a massive retail investor base, and all these people are ready to be orange pilled. I think they're already disillusioned with the financial system. They're already in consternation or frustration with the way that the stock has been manipulated and the way that their own investments are manipulated, and that their savings are dwindling and inflation's killing them. And a lot of these people I've been arguing with on Twitter, because they get like 90% of the problem, but they just haven't made that full leap into Bitcoin yet. They think that Bitcoin plus crypto is the answer, or no crypto is the answer, and they should just stack silver eagles. And I'm like, guys, you're so close. Like, we're almost there. And I think him getting there would unite the, MicroStrategy Bitcoin audience and the GameStop audience, and finally orange pill, millions more people, and provide a strong customer base for him to sell products to, right? For Bitcoin. And so I think that he'll make the move here in, a couple months, probably within a quarter or two, but it's not going to be immediate. And I think that especially after he does that, the share price will start to skyrocket, and then that's when his optionality will come in, where he can pull Michael Saylor and say, hey, are we going to start just issuing convertibles and buying Bitcoin, or are we just going to change 20% of our free cash flow and just smash buy Bitcoin with 20% of the money we make, or maybe 50%? Like, why don't we just stack it? We already have 5 billion of it. Why don't we just stack even more? Like, all those are possibilities, and the share price could go bonkers if that happens, for sure.
I think that's the thing. It's like you're already seeing a pretty, in my mind, rapid uptick in the number of companies, like Eric Semler has basically called them, like zombie companies that are ripe for Bitcoin allocations. Like, and I don't think GameStop quite falls into that. Maybe it's, it's something a little bit different, but a lot of these other companies that are, nobody's really heard of them before, unless you are really deep in this stuff. They are kind of just sitting there. They haven't really moved a lot in a while. Maybe their share price has been kind of steadily losing value. And it's like, okay, you realize, because now you've seen this again and again, you start to put Bitcoin on the balance sheet and investors are paying attention again and your share does pretty well. Now, I think there's also going to be like even more companies that come in, maybe with their intention is not to be like a long-term Bitcoin holder as a company. Their intention is to juice their stock price a little bit in the short term and then kind of see what happens. Of course, you're going to have that. But I think for each of those, you probably also have ones like Semler Scientific seems to be one that are getting in this and like stacking aggressively. And now Semler is like one of the, largest corporate Bitcoin holders. Like that's pretty cool. And I think we're going to see that trend accelerate. I think GameStop adopting Bitcoin would certainly like set that, like be really like the spark that set that off for a whole nother wave of companies. And I love your point about if GameStop does this, that's a huge potential orange pilling moment for the massive horde of retail investors out there who have been disillusioned by the system, who have seen how it can screw them, to be like, wow, okay, maybe I need to take another look at this Bitcoin thing, which I either dismissed entirely or lumped in with crypto or whatever else. Like that could be a really powerful thing. And like, I mean, in my mind, like the reason I have a podcast to talk about this magic internet money is because I want as many people as possible to know about it. Like it's not because the, one extra retail person buying Bitcoin is going to pump my bags. It is because I think that this is something that everybody who doesn't want to be completely bent over by the system should hold. And the more people that get exposure to that, the more people through whatever channels, whether it's because President Trump is talking about it more and launching shitcoins on the side, or because GameStop buys it. Like, I think that's a net positive thing. Like the more people that get exposure to it, I view that as just an overwhelmingly good thing. So I hope they move forward with it. And can you imagine the memes? Like these two communities of memers, toxic Bitcoin psychopathic maximalists and GameStop apes teaming up. The memes would be off the charts, I think.
Oh yeah, I can, dude. Like I was telling you, in 2021, the meme game was incredible, and still on the GameStop subreddits and Twitter, the memes are awesome, and I can just see them doing, Lord of the Rings, like, GameStop investors fighting, the stock's at 25, and then you see the MicroStrategy, it's just like Bitcoin retards, and they're like, yeah, you could totally see that happening. And something else I'll mention as a closing thing is one thing that I've noticed with the GameStop, like sneeze thesis or these like ramps that just rip the stock into the stratosphere is, first of all, like we said, it seems to be institutions that are forced to close out their shorts. It's an FTD, basically like closeout forcing by what's called the central continuous net settlement, CNS. And so that always happens when there's a catalyst. So the first catalyst was Ryan Cohen buying shares and getting into the board and starting to reinvigorate the company. The next catalyst was them paying off the debt and the share price, going haywire. And then the next catalyst was Roaring Kitty coming back last summer. So again, if they do this, just the rumor that one board member said maybe they're kind of thinking about Bitcoin in a potential future scenario, that shot the stock up 20%. So if they actually go ahead and smash buy, I don't see any reason why the stock wouldn't rally 80%, 100%. And then again, they can sell into that strength if they want to, or they can issue debt, or they can do, they can sell options, they can do whatever they want and monetize that volatility and then just use it to buy more Bitcoin. And then more and more shorts have to cover. And they're essentially using this negative, the negative feedback loop that had worked against them. Now they can use on their positive to propel their share price higher and increase their Bitcoin stack at the same time. So that's like the genius, I think, of this move. And that's why you also have to plan it carefully, right? Because these are big institutions. They have a lot of lawyers. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of power. They will not like having to force their short positions and then seeing you apishly buy Bitcoin with every share you sell. They're not going to be happy about that. So, yeah.
Oh, but it would be beautiful.
Yeah,
it would be quite beautiful to see.